So you found your countertop, you found a nice little sample, you think this is gonna work perfect, you're ready to do your kitchen remodel, on to the next. Let me tell you why it's a lot more than picking out a cute little sample. Choosing the wrong countertop can be one of the most expensive things that can happen in your remodel. So you wanna make sure you're not left after your contractor leaves and you've got questions like, why does that countertop look different than the sample that they showed me? That color doesn't match the cabinets that I purchased. I don't like that edge detail, and it actually conflicts with me opening up my drawers on my cabinets. By the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you all the things you need to know as you're planning your new kitchen to think about regarding your countertops. Let's start with the foundation, the material itself. You're gonna wanna consider the aesthetics, how it looks, the performance, that's the maintenance of it, the durability, the versatility of it, and third, the cost. One of the most popular materials that people use nowadays is quartz, which is a manufactured stone. And don't confuse that with quartzite, which is a natural stone, which we'll get more into. Quartz is highly durable, very easy to clean, doesn't stain, but you don't want to use it outside. You don't want to use it outside because it doesn't do well with the heat and it can warp. And it's also recommended to not put hot pans directly on it. Quartz is perfect for people who use their kitchen all the time. There's a lot of use out of it, a lot of wear and tear. It's got a nice modern look to it. It's affordable. Quartz isn't perfect if you want a certain type of edge. Can be difficult to do because quartz, the finish is printed on top of it. So when you start grinding down into it, you get to the raw material versus a natural stone, it's pure all the way through. So you can cut it and grind it and polish it, and it's all gonna look like the stone does up top. It's also not good for prolonged heat exposure, whether that's taking stuff out of the oven while it's hot and setting it on the counter, or using quartz for an outdoor barbecue. Moving on to the natural stones, we have granite and quartzite, which are really popular. Quartzite's one of the hardest stones in the known countertop space, and there's many, many beautiful patterns, very unique. Each one is different. People love to use that because it's so hard. It adds such an aesthetic to the kitchen. So it's a great stone if you want to make a splash design wise, and it's also just great because it looks so natural. It looks like a piece of art. It is a hard stone to work with, so your fabricator may charge a little bit more to work with it, but it's great for those outdoor kitchens. It's great for indoor kitchens, bathrooms, pretty much any use. Some of these stones may need to be sealed, so there may be some maintenance involved, but overall it's a wonderful choice. Marble, another natural stone, absolutely beautiful. It's one of the softer stones used, so I wouldn't recommend it in your kitchen. That sees a lot of use. It's mostly for bathrooms or maybe a laundry area or secondary countertop areas. It is more prone to stain, so if you were to spill a glass of wine on it and leave it overnight in the kitchen, you're gonna see that stain. It's gonna be tough to get out of there. But I love it in the kitchens, and this is the stone that Italians and Greeks have used for centuries to carve. So it's got that softness to it and that beautiful veining, and it is softer to the touch than the other stones. So many great uses for marble, and very beautiful stone. Just don't use it in the wrong areas. Like I said, stay away from high traffic areas. Definitely don't put marble in your garage countertop. Because of its softness, it can scratch easily and stain easily. Moving on to porcelain. This is essentially a gigantic tile the size of a slab, and the technology's come a long way with the porcelain tiles. You can print the marble patterns on there, the quartzite patterns on there, so it's very versatile in the aesthetics, and it provides a very durable, heat-resistant finish. So you can use porcelain outside on your barbecues, in your kitchen, in your bathrooms. It's a very hard stone, similar to porcelain tile, but the print is only on the top of the stone. You can't do edges like you can with natural stones. Once you start grinding off that edge, you're going to see just the porcelain material underneath. So in short, porcelain can be a great countertop choice if you like a mitered edge and you want something extremely durable, but also want a really modern look. Before we move on from porcelain, I do want to remind you, working with porcelain is more difficult, and not all stone fabricators work with porcelain, right? A stone fabricator is working with stones, natural stones, manufactured stones. Porcelain is not a stone. So a lot of the guys don't work with it. You may have to find a tile guy or a installer fabricator that does work with it. So it also can cost a little bit more because it is a specialized, harder to work with material. Butcher block is another countertop option which works great for laundry areas, maybe a section of your kitchen, coffee nook or island if you want. I wouldn't recommend it on the island. Wood, of course, is going to be a much softer material, but it does provide a lot of warmth to the room. So it can be a great choice for areas that you don't need necessarily a highly durable countertop, but it's maybe only going to see some towels and some soaps and stuff like that. Butcher block material, wood countertops can be an affordable option compared to some of the stone options, but keep in mind it is going to still require some maintenance like any wood product, and it's easier to prone scratching and staining. Concrete countertops, these are very cool and become quite popular over the last couple decades. I've done them a lot for outdoor barbecue areas. They're great because they're very durable and you can create any shape you want. The colors are, I don't want to say endless, but you do have some color options too. So it can be a great modern look, durable. You can do them inside too and polish them up. That provides a nice industrial kind of look. But some things to remember are that they can crack over time. They can pit out, they require a little bit of maintenance, and they really lend themselves to certain types of designs. The edge profile seems like something that may not have a lot of impact until it's installed and you see this entire 9-foot island has this OG edge or a detailed edge, and it just doesn't fit with your modern design. So you want to definitely take your edge consideration into effect. A more fancy edge, just like a more fancy anything, typically is going to go out of style quicker. So a lot of the countertops we do, I usually recommend a mitered square edge or something that has a classic look. But don't let me hold you back. If you do find an edge that feels like matches your design, go for it. The most common, of course, is going to be your straight edge or eased edge. That's where you have a straight edge, but you just kind of sand the corner. We call that an eased edge. So it's a little bit softer look, but still has a square edge. People like this because it's classic, it's minimal, and it's relatively straightforward to fabricate. You have a beveled edge, which provides a little bit of a angle to the edge there. That can be kind of nice and still fit in with your modern design. I would say any of these edge choices, make sure you know what you're going after. Don't just pick one because it looked good. Make sure if you are going to stray from your classic square edge that you know exactly how that's going to look overall with your design and make sure that it fits. Also, with the square edge, you can do longer. What's become popular is like a 2 1/4 inch edge. So instead of your typical 1.5 inch edge that hangs below the top of the countertop, you do like a 2 1/4 edge and provides a nice bulky edge that looks almost like a thicker slab. So that can be pretty popular. Some of the less popular ones nowadays are the bullnose edge, which was popular more in the 90s. And that's when the fully rounded edge. This style can be good. Outdoors is nice. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it does serve a purpose. It's been around a long, long time. So I'm open to the bullnose edge, just depending on where it's placed. Then you have the OG design, and that's kind of more of an architectural. It's got a few little like details to it, which I wouldn't recommend again, unless you just absolutely know where you're putting it and it fits in with your overall design. So, with all this information, how do you actually get the right countertop for your needs? You got to ask yourself the right questions, starting with, how often do I cook? How much durability do I need in my countertop? What kind of maintenance do I want to deal with? How do I want it to look overall in my design? And of course, how much do I have to spend? So you're out at the countertop yard or the showroom and you've got your sample and you say, I like this. I think this is what I want. Let me just take you through a couple things you want to double check to make sure that this is your choice. First of all, this is such a small sample. You're going to have potentially a 8 by 5 foot island. So you're only seeing like 1/90th of that in this little sample. So the first thing I would do is see if you can't get a little bigger sample. This is the same countertop material, but now you can kind of see a little bit more of the grain and understand what the slab might look like. Now, the next best thing would be to turn around the back of the samples. They have the slab. And typically with quartz, all the slabs are going to look the same. They're printed. It's not like natural stone. So that's what the slab looks like when you get it from these guys. Different manufacturers might have different prints of the same color, but different manufacturers make different quartz slabs. So you really want to get your eyes on the slab. The next best thing is to actually go to the slab yard. Take a look at the slab that you want for your kitchen, pick it out. This is a big expense. You want to get this right. So don't be afraid, and I encourage you to go to the yard and take a look at the slab that you're liking sample wise, and keep your mind open for maybe something else. Why? Because when you get there, you might realize, oh, that sample's not as white as I thought. Because what happens is as soon as you compare it with another sample, you can see these are both white, right? But if I was just looking at this one, you're not going to realize, oh, this one is actually a little grayer, and this one has a little bit of warm tone in it. And that's what I need, is something a little bit more warm tone. So that's why you want to go in and you want to compare the two side by side. And what's handy is if you can bring in your cabinet samples for your kitchen, right? So here's a couple of cabinet samples. Now I can go up at the yard, or at least with my samples, and I can put these on and go, okay, yeah, that brown looks pretty good with that. But you know what? That brown on this sample looks even better. It kind of ties in with my color. But when you don't have your cabinet samples, you're just literally shooting from the hip. Hey, yeah, I like it. It looks pretty. Okay, that's great. Well, you know, this one looks pretty too. And the white matches your whites better. It fits in better. And the browns actually, relate to the tones in this. So yeah, they're all pretty, but this is your choice. So I want to make sure you're asking yourself the right questions and doing your due diligence. It's a lot more than just going into the showroom and looking at a pretty little sample and thinking you're done. You also want to talk to your fabricator, your contractor, and tell them what you have planned. Tell them you like this edge, this material, this is how your cabinets are going to go, and this is how you want the countertop to waterfall over the side of the island or whatever it is. And so if you thought in your head, yeah, I want to have a bullnose edge with porcelain, I found something, and you forgot about this video, or you skipped through that part, your fabricator is going to go, hold on, not so fast. I can't do a bullnose edge with porcelain. So prepare yourself with the questions you need to ask, and then ask the right people, the people who are going to be making it, right? And they're going to tell you if your plan is on track or if it's not. If this video helped you at all, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you're ready to pick out the countertop for your kitchen remodel, you want to get that process started, be more than happy to help you along that path.